Welcome back, class 10. Today we'll start chapter 9, Subhash Chandra Bose, Forward Bloc and the Indian National Army. Subhash was born on 23rd January 1897. He had a brilliant career in Calcutta University. After completing his studies in India, he went to England and passed the ICSE, Indian Civil Service examination. Next year, he resigned from the civil service because he did not want to work under the British. At the age of 24, Subhash entered active politics. In 1923, he became a Swarajist because he was not in love with the Gandhian thought. He was a political realist, he was an activist, he was a man of action, an agitator. And in May 1939, he organized a new party known as the Forward Bloc. He said that in absence of a disciplined left-wing organization, he could not find the orthodox wing led by Gandhi. There was a rift between Gandhi and Subhash. Subhash was elected as the president in Haripura Congress session in 1938. He sought re-election as a Congress president in Tirupuri session of Congress in the next year, 1939. Tirupuri is in Madhya Pradesh. Assertive nationalists rallied around him. Gandhi supported Pattabhi Sitaramaiah, an outstanding right-wing leader. Bose, however, won the election by 95 votes, and Gandhi took it as a personal insult. Gandhi said that it's more of a my defeat than of Sitaramaiah. After Subhash's re-election, a deep difference had started between the orthodox wing and the wing led by the Subhash. And not any wing, he did not lead any wing that time, between Subhash and the orthodox wing. As to who will, during the formation of the Congress Working Committee, Pant Patel and other members of All India Congress Committee wanted Subhash should constitute his working committee in accordance with the wishes of Gandhi. However, Gandhi refused to suggest any name. As a result, Bose resigned from the chairmanship of the party on 29th April 1939. Next day, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected as the president of the working committee in his place. Factors responsible for the rift: irreconcilable difference between Gandhi and Subhash. There was such a big difference. In the first place, Subhash believed in socialism and was well known for his revolutionary beliefs. This went against the policy and program of Mahatma Gandhi. Secondly, Subhash believed that freedom could not be obtained without outside support of some kind. The political sky of Europe was overcast with war clouds, and Subhash believed that some external support should be needed, because Bose looked upon the war between Germany and Britain as a godsend, because which will enable India to exploit the situation to her advantage. Why? Because England at that time is busy fighting the German people. So they are busy in that. So it is the best time to take advantage of the situation. Gandhi and Nehru opposed to this idea. Thirdly, Subhash believed in employing tact and diplomacy while dealing with the opponents. He would not appreciate the openness of which Gandhi laid the cards on the table during the second roundtable conference in London. Now comes formation of the Forward Bloc. Subhash Bose's re-election as Congress president against Gandhi's wishes, his socialist beliefs and revolutionary ideas, these were in brief the factors led to the formation of the Forward Bloc. So getting away from the Congress, then Subhash's revolutionary ideas, socialist belief, so these helped, or these were instrumental in the formation of the Forward Bloc in 1939. Subhash announced that his left-wing party would function within Congress, but the Congress Working Committee passed a resolution disqualifying Subhash to be the member of any Congress committee for 3 years. Just imagine how Congress and the Congress Working Committee worked against normal functioning of Subhash Chandra Bose. So, what was the objective of the Forward Bloc? Forward Bloc's immediate objective was liberation of India with the support of workers, peasants. This is important. Liberation of India with the help of workers, peasants, youth, and all radical organizations. Subhash believed in an uncompromising anti-imperialistic sorry, anti-imperialistic struggle for attaining national independence. Uncompromising anti-imperialistic struggle for attaining national independence. So after attaining independence, what did the Forward Bloc thought of doing? What work did the Forward Bloc wanted to do? Subhash had certain plans that after independence, Forward Bloc will work in state planning for the reorganization of agriculture and industry on socialist line. Number 2, abolition of landlordism, that is Jamindari system. Number 3, social ownership and control of both production and distribution, making the right to work as a fundamental right of the citizen, providing workers several kinds of benefits and new monetary and credit system. Subhash was certain that communism would not succeed in India. Neither could Indians agree to an anti-religious set of beliefs because religious is a very, the heartthrob of India. Therefore, two of the objectives of the Forward Bloc speak of freedom in the matter of religious worship, whatever you want to worship, you worship, linguistic and cultural autonomy, freedom of language and culture for all sections of Indian community. Forward Bloc's statement of objective concluded in these words: application of the principle of equality and social justice in building up new order in free India. So what was the objective of the Forward Bloc? The objective of the Forward Bloc was reorganization of agriculture, abolition of landlordism, social ownership, control of production and distribution, then making a right to work as a fundamental right, providing several kinds of monetary and benefits, new monetary and credit benefits system. Then, moreover, freedom in the matter of religion and worship, and language and cultural autonomy, freedom. So these were the plans and objectives of Forward Bloc. Now, the British government looked upon Bose as enemy number one because he was a very dangerous man according to the Britishers. Subhash was arrested on 2nd July 1940. While in prison, he decided to go on an indefinite hunger strike. On the 7th day of his fast, the government looked alarmed because his health was deteriorating. They therefore released him on 5th December. Thereafter, Subhash was kept in house arrest in Calcutta. So on 17th Jan 1941, he left home in disguise. So he left his home and no one understood. He went to Peshawar dressed as a Pathan and then crossed the Indian border and reached Afghanistan. He went to Russia on March and from there he flew to Moscow to Berlin. From there he flew from Moscow to Berlin. So what was the journey? From Calcutta he went to Peshawar. Then he crossed the Indian border, went to Afghanistan. He then went to Russia. Capital of Russia is Moscow. And from Russia he went to Berlin in Germany to meet our Adolf Hitler. So Bose was well received in German by the German leaders. Why? Because during the war, England and Germany were two opposing countries. So when we'll do World War, we will learn about these things. They were two different opposing countries. So obviously, Subhash also went there to oppose the Britishers. So obviously, he was very much welcomed by the German leaders. From there, he started a deadly propaganda against the British imperialists. A Free India Center was set up in Berlin in November 1941. He became the editor-in-chief of the English monthly Azad Hind. Broadcast also started in English, Hindi and Bengali and other Indian languages from Azad Hind Radio established in Berlin. Subhash's intense patriotism inspired Indians in a remarkable manner. Subhash founded Free India Center in Rome. Now comes formation of Indian National Army, INA. In Southeast Asia, the Japanese were getting one success after another after the British. As a result, a large number of Indian soldiers fell prisoners to their hands. A lot of Indian soldiers were captured by the Japanese army. After the fall of Singapore in February 1942, Japan captured some 40,000 Indian soldiers as prisoners of war. The Japanese handed them over to Captain Mohan Singh, who had earlier surrendered to them after the Japanese forces attacked Malaya. So they were handed over to Mohan Singh. Britain's defeat aroused great hopes in the Indian soldier. They were ready to take action, which led to the formation of Indian Independence League. The organizers of the league was Rajbihari Bose, an old revolutionary who flew to Japan in 1915. The league aimed at mobilizing the members of the Indian community for the purpose of securing India's independence. Now, then comes the Tokyo Conference. Indian officers, both military and civil, proceeded to Tokyo to meet the Japanese High Command. At the Tokyo Conference, the following decisions were taken. Number one, to expand and strengthen the Indian Independence League. Number two, to form under the overall command of a league and of the League and Indian National Army. They will form an overall command of the League and Indian National Army, that is INA, and to hold a conference at Bangkok to consolidate, to bring together these decisions. Then there was Bangkok Conference. First was the Tokyo Conference, then the Bangkok Conference. The Bangkok Conference was held from 15 June to 23rd June. More than 150 delegates from Malaysia, Singapore, Burma, Thailand, Hong Kong, Manila, Java attended the conference. It passed many resolutions, including one which stated that Sri Subhash Chandra Bose to be invited to come to Europe to lead the movement. So thousands of Indian soldiers joined the INA, Indian National Army, also known as the Azad Hind Fauj, which was formally established on 1st September 1942. A flag of INA was similar to the Congress tricolour, but it bore a roaring lion instead of that charkha. A council of action was formed under the presidency of Rajbihari Bose. Mohan Singh took over the commander-in-chief of the Indian National Army. Japanese government supplied the arms, ships and aeroplanes to INA. Now, Subhash became the supreme leader of the Indian National Army. Subhash has accepted the invitation of Bangkok Conference. He left Germany in a Japan U-boat and reached Japan on 3rd June 1943. He arrived in Singapore on 2nd July 1943. Raj Bihari happily surrendered all the powers to him, gave all the powers to him, Raj Bihari Bose. And on 5th July, Subhash took the salute of INA. He was greeted as Netaji. For the first time in Subhash was called or given the name of Netaji, or the great leader. On 22nd August 1943, Subhash officially took charge of the Indian National Army and became its supreme commander. He addressed the army men in these words. He said that the Azad Hind Fauj has to be like a steamroller rolling over everyone. Let us continue to fight till the national flag flies over the Viceroy's house in New Delhi. Such powerful words. He was a very powerful and a very strong person who influenced and motivated the Indians. So, Subhash's contribution to INA success and achievements. What Subhash had failed to get from Hitler and Mussolini, Japan's Prime Minister Tojo was persuaded to give. As an INA Supremo leader, his achievements were formation of provincial government of Free India. On 21st October 1943, he announced the formation of provincial government of Free India and declared war on the Allies. So 9 countries including Japan, Germany, Italy, Burma and Thailand gave recognition to the provincial government. The slogan Jai Hind and Dilli Chalo became the battle cry of INA. From Singapore, Netaji flew back to Tokyo, where he was received with full honors due to the head of the government of Free India. On 8th November 1943, Japan handed over the Andaman and Nicobar Island to the provincial government of India. It was handed over to the provincial government of India. In the last week of December, Subhash paid a visit to these islands and renamed them as Shahid and Swaraj Islands, respectively. So Andaman and Nicobar was renamed by Subhash as Shahid and Swaraj, but I don't know why it is not used. Still, we call it as Andaman and Nicobar. So, the INA, Indian National Army, along with the Japanese army, overran many territories in Southeast Asia. In 1944, they advanced up to the very frontier of India. They captured Kohima, reached Imphal, which is now in Nagaland and Manipur states, respectively. Kohima is in Nagaland and Imphal is in Manipur. They had a good fortune of planting tricolor flag for the first time on 19th March 1944. Shah Nawaz Khan, the commander of INA Brigade, wrote, "While the INA was on the offensive, there was not a single occasion on which our forces were defeated on the battlefield." Defeat of Japan basically sealed the fate of INA because Japan was the country which was helping the INA a lot. In INA's victories were short-lived. Monsoon started before the fall of Imphal, and by the end of May 1944, the Japanese forces started to retreat, go back. Even then, the Japanese, along with the INA men, continued to hold on Burma almost for a year. After that, things just went out of control. Rangoon was recaptured by the British in early May 1945. INA men were disarmed and made prisoners of war. The surrender of Japan in 15th August sealed the fate of INA. Netaji left Rangoon and went to Bangkok. Thereafter, from there, he went back to Tokyo. While on the way to Tokyo, he is said to have received a fatal injuries in a plane crash. The Japanese official version was that Subhash died on 18th August 1945. Whatever happened, Netaji was never seen. He was no more seen. So this is basically the struggle of Netaji. But what was the significance of the struggle of INA? First, INA and their leader, Netaji, received great honors from their country as a heroic struggle. For their heroic struggle against the British Raj. In 1945, a trial of INA officers Shah Nawaz Khan, G.C. Dhillon and Prem Sehgal at Red Fort, Delhi evoked sympathy of the entire nation. The Congress took up their cause. Jawaharlal Nehru, Bhulabhai Desai and Tej Bahadur Sapru fought the case on behalf of INA officer. Students everywhere demonstrated. Even the Muslim League condemned the trial. The government viewed the development as alarm, and the INA officers were ultimately released. Second, the INA spirit started affecting the armed forces of the country. How? The Indian Navy rose to revolt in Bombay in 1946. Similar uprisings took place in Calcutta, Madras, Karachi. The naval revolts shook the very foundation on which the British Empire rested. Third was, the INA proved that the Indian soldiers was not the one interested only in money. He was a volunteer. That means the Indian soldiers were volunteer to lay down their life as a patriotic son of the motherland. Officers and army demonstrated their ability to lead in difficult situations. So this was a great thing. They were no more after money. Fourth, INA struggle was an important factor which led the British quit India. So these were the very important things and significance of the struggle of INA and Subhash, who was a brave son of India. So with this we come to the end of this chapter, chapter 9. I believe we have solved the questions from chapter 8. It was a short chapter, so we finished it in one class. And there are 11 to 12 short questions and a couple of long questions. So solve the questions in your exercise copies, which will help you to recap what you have done in the class. Thank you for today.